Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Wednesday, September 1st, 2021. I am Dave Biddle. I am joined by G. Scott Sr. and Monica Daniels, mother of Paris Johnson Jr., Ohio State starting right guard. Thank you very much to both of you for joining me. This is going to be such a fun show. Monica, let's start with you. Buckeyes kicking off the season tomorrow. How excited are you about this?
I am elated. Just think, this is going to be my boy's first collegiate start. So I am one happy mama. I have not slept since Sunday, so I am ecstatic. Yes.
Mr. Scott, welcome back to the show. How are you feeling about this game tomorrow, my friend?
Man, 10 times almost what Monica says, but Monica would say the same thing about me 10 times. Let me tell you something, man. Ain't no feeling like this. Monica talked about the sleep. I've been getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning, staying up for a few hours, then going back to sleep. Let me tell you something, man. It's if you are a parent right now and you listening, remember when you was excited about junior football in high school? It ain't no different. You still excited. As a matter of fact, I wish the Ohio State would allow me to get in there and let me lay out my child's uniform. Remember you used to lay your child's uniform out? Can the equipment managers let me just lay their uniform out? Let me see it before the game. Super excited. Yes. I cannot wait until tomorrow, DB.
Now, Monica and G, one thing I hear from every parent is how much they love their son playing for Ryan Day. Again, we'll start with Monica on this one. What is it about Ryan Day? Why do I hear so many good things about, from parents saying, I don't like it. I love that my son is playing for Ryan Day.
Yes, absolutely. And the key word is love. Is because he loves our sons. And he also loves us. He cares about us. It's truly a family at Ohio State. That's just not words. Coach Day is a phenomenal man, not just a coach, but a man. Paris has grown tremendously since he's been there with him. He is so much more mature, much more independent. And that has a lot to do with the leadership that's in place at Ohio State. And it starts with Coach Day.
Yeah, and G, I know you and I have talked. Go ahead, sir.
I absolutely love Monica's answer. Because Monica's answer dealt with love. And that's exactly what I was going to say. I believe that Ryan Day is the future of coaching. Mm-hmm. Let me repeat that. I think Ryan Day is the future of coaching. Back in the day, the old school used to lead with the iron fist, right? More lead out of love. Out of fear. And in the case of Ryan Day, this man leads out of love. And so that's the most important part for what he is doing. And I think that with Monica and myself and maybe other parents, I would assume would feel the same way, that it's not about just these young men becoming good football players. What really stands out to us, and I'm not trying to be corny when I say this, I mean this is the truth, because even if our boys had a successful collegiate career, played, let's just say hypothetically they played in the NFL for 10 years. Let's say they had a great NFL career. They still done playing at 32. They got the rest of their life. So Monica and I, we don't just want our boys to just be great football players. We want them to be good fathers, good sons, good men, good bosses, good coworkers, good friends, good cousins, niece, nephew, all that stuff, to be a part of what this society needs more of is better people.
Yes.
Both of you have done a phenomenal job. I mean, when we got a chance to speak with Paris Johnson Jr. earlier, I guess it was last month, so late last month, and G. Scott Jr. late last month, both these young men are mature beyond their years. So both of you have done a great job. I mean, I'm not just saying that because you guys are on the show right now. When we got a chance to speak with them, and anybody can get on YouTube and watch the videos, mature beyond their years, both Paris Johnson Jr. and G. Scott Jr. And that's a common theme. That's a common theme, my friends. I mean, we see this with a lot of these young men. I mean, you guys have done a great job. And let's switch gears and talk some name, image, and likeness. We have the fourth string quarterback for Ohio State signing a $1.4 million name, image, and likeness deal. Good for him. Good for him.
Yes.
Monica, your early thoughts on name, image, and likeness. What do you like? What do you love? What maybe don't you like, if there's anything you don't like? Maybe there's nothing you don't like, but what do you like about name, image, and likeness?
Well, I'm excited that the young men and women can now begin to profit off of their name, their image, and their likeness. So I am excited for all young men and women that they're able to do that. Kudos to all the other athletes before our children, because our kids stand on their shoulders. And if it wasn't for them advocating for our sons and daughters, our kids wouldn't benefit. So kudos to them for advocating for our kids. But we are excited as a family. When everything came down, we sat down with Paris and we decided to come up with a rubric, because the idea that I had was to address it as if we were going through the recruiting process. Let's make a list of things that Paris is interested in, things that Paris enjoy, things that he's passionate about, things that he can see himself doing after football is over. So we decided to come up with a checklist, and we made a list of those things. We made sure they fell within our family core value, our moral compass. So Paris will feel comfortable endorsing future products if it was presented to him, or if he decided to pursue them. And so that's our driving force with it. It's just creating just that rubric so we can stay focused. We're not a family that's chasing short money. That's not important to us as a family, but it's about Paris finding something that's valuable to him, that's going to increase his value, and that he's excited about. So we're excited about the opportunity. Things are presented to Paris on a daily basis. And so we just sit down as a family and we go through it to make sure it falls in line with his moral compass and the family rubric. And that's how we're handling it. I would encourage other parents to do the same. Is just take a look at it and see what falls in line with your son and daughter during this process. Because at the end of the day, it's about Paris's branding, or the word now that we're using at Ohio State, his platform, and just making sure that he's being wise with the decisions that he's making and who he is endorsing.
Boy,
Mr.
Monica,
Scott, the floor is yours.
She knocked that out of the park, and I don't really have much more to say. On top of that, I'll just echo what she did say about our boys standing on the shoulders of those that played this game before them. And so we can't thank them enough. There is no us without them. Those boys, those families, those parents, all of them, these boys and families are standing on their shoulders, and we're grateful for them, and obviously grateful for the Buckeyes and to be a part of this family.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to talk some like hardcore Buckeye football in a moment, but I still want to, I mean, both of the young men you guys are raising, they're so impressive. Let's talk about the Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation. It's so cool what he's doing, Monica, with underprivileged people, military veterans that are struggling. Some are homeless, which is ridiculous that we have military veterans that are homeless. I love everything that your son is doing in this respect. Please tell the listeners what they need to know about the Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation and how they can help if they would like to help.
Thank you so much for allowing me to share this on this platform. But Paris started this foundation his sophomore year in high school. Wow. And so he's very passionate about helping those. He's the first one to be able to use what God has given him to be a blessing to other people. And so again, just real quickly, you already mentioned the two pillars. One is that Paris wants to work with disadvantaged student athletes. He wants to make sure they have the same resources that were afforded to him when he was in high school. And also he wants to be able to recognize and help disabled homeless veterans. Paris has a heart for veterans. Even when he was in high school, he worked with Special Olympics with veterans. And so he has a heart for those men and women. And so we have an event coming up on September the 5th which we're partnering with the Dream Center of Columbus. And we have some sponsors from Roosters to Giant Eagle and local sponsorships that's going to join in an effort with us to help feed homeless veterans September the 5th, Sunday from 12 until 2. And so those are one of the events that we're going to be doing in Columbus. We have some other things that we're working on, but anyone who wants to be able to give or even provide resources to the foundation, you can do so through PayPal. I'll make sure I get all that information to Bucknuts so that way they'll be able to share that information. And you can also give through the Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation at any Huntington Bank branch location. And also we have a P.O. box in Cincinnati, Ohio. So I'll get all that information so your listeners will be able to have that at their fingertips.
And we will post that on Bucknuts. We will post that on YouTube and all of our platforms. So anybody listening to this show can get the information if you would like to help out with a fantastic cause, which is the Paris Johnson Jr. Foundation. All right, my friends, let's talk some football. Yeah. Let's start with a guy named Paris Johnson Jr. at right guard. Monica, I'm hearing really good things about him, which is shocking considering he was like the number one offensive lineman in the country a couple years ago. But I give him credit. Like he easily could say, no, I'm the number one offensive tackle in the country. I'm not playing guard. I'll just leave. I can go anywhere in the country. They'll have me start at tackle. He's like, no, I'm going to play right guard. And the coaches love him. His teammates love him. Tell the listeners about Paris Johnson Jr.'s role this year.
Well, I'm excited. Again, I'm excited that Paris is going to have his first collegiate start. What an honor to be able to be a part of Buckeye Nation. So we are excited as a family. Paris's approach is just that. He's all about the team. It's all about what's best for the team. And so when Paris was approached by Coach Stud and Coach Day, that's where they needed him during the season, he didn't hesitate. Now, does Paris want to play tackle? Absolutely. Who doesn't want to play tackle? Yeah. So, but he knows that right now, this is what is asked of him. This is what's required of him. And he has embraced it. He is excited. And also it will help him be more versatile and he will be able to learn the defense from a totally different perspective, from a totally different angle. And also Paris have learned some different things about playing guard versus playing tackle. Because, playing tackle, you're on your own, you're on an island, you're doing your own thing. Versus when you're playing guard, you have to be there to help the center. And sometimes you're going to have to be there to pull to the other side of the line. So he needs to be able to support his other teammates as well as he's on the line. So it's teaching him to begin to think outside the box. It's pushing him to continue to be a selfless person because playing offensive line is one of the most selfless positions on the team. So he's learning more about himself during this process. And one key thing that we've learned as a family is that we have to trust the coaches. That's something that's important that we have to do. They know a little bit more than what we do. So it's important that we trust the coaches and trust the process. As people say, trust the process, but trust Coach Day, trust Coach Stud, and trust even Coach Wilson, that is one of the office coordinators there, to know they know what's best for the team. So we're just excited. Again, I'm just happy my baby's on the team. So
I'm happy your baby's on the team. Everybody listening to the show is happy your baby's on the team. And I'm telling you, I've followed Ohio State football for a long time. This will be one of the best offensive lines that we have ever seen at Ohio State. I cannot wait.
I agree.
And the game is tomorrow, which feels so good to say. G. Scott
Can
Sr.
I say one more thing, though, about this offensive line?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
What I'm so excited, too, about this offensive line, you just look at how Thayer moved inside. He went from playing tackle to playing guard. And then you have Nick that moved on the other side of the line. You have DeJuan and you have Harry. So it's just some amazing young men on the line, not just Paris, but there's 4 other amazing young men that's on that line. And everybody had to make adjustments so they can be successful as a team. And what school can say they have 4 tackles on the line? I think that's cool. 4 tackles on the line.
It's amazing. And the second team line would be starters at I'm not talking about like MAC schools, nothing against MAC schools. Like the 5 backups would be starters at a lot of like good Division I teams.
Absolutely.
And a G. Scott Sr., I'm liking this tight end group a lot. Jeremy Rucker,
Me too.
is the leader, but there's a young guy, G. Scott Jr., flex tight end. We got Mitch Ross, who's kind of like the fullback. Kate Stover's kind of coming up. Tell me about G. Scott Jr. and this new flex tight end role and what we're expecting. I know he's going to play all over special teams too. Matt Barnes talks him up. Parker Fleming talks him up. Tell the listeners what we can expect from G. Scott Jr. this season.
He's still in the oven, baby. He's still in the oven. And let me tell you, there's nothing worse than continuing to go in the kitchen and say to mom and dad, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? It just got in the oven, baby. He's just getting right. So here's the deal. There's going to be some times that this season, right? Coach Day and Coach Wilson, they're going to go to the oven and they're going to pull it out. And sometimes you pull that cornbread out and you you take a toothpick, right? And you take that toothpick and you kind of put it in there and you, it ain't done yet. You put that thing back in the oven. That's G. Scott Jr. He's still getting righteous. And here's the thing. He's not even going to be done yet for another year or two. You see what I'm saying? Now, there's going to be some taste tests along the way, right? There's going to be some growing. But like Monica said, you got to trust the chefs, baby. You got to trust the coaches and trust what they do. I'll share this with you listeners. I was with some scouts, some NFL scouts 2 weeks ago, and they were telling me about being at the practice, the Buckeyes practice. And one of them said, I cannot believe how talented that team is, and started off talking about the offensive line and everything. But the one thing they talked about is the conversation we had was this. When it comes to playing time and it comes to, I want to go here and play, I want to go here and do these things. Well, you better be careful what you wish for, because you want to play when you're ready to play. Because what you don't want to do is be out there when you're not ready. And so if you're out there and you're not ready, and there's film of you being out there and you're not ready, that can follow you forever. It's almost like a first date. You show up on the first date, you was late, your breath was stinking. First impression is an important impression. You see what I'm saying? So you don't want to get out there and your breath stank. So that's the problem I'm trying to tell y'all. You want to make sure it's done. Now, I know I come out with so many analogies. I'm going to stop now because I got about 3 more and we will be here all day. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop right there.
I love your analogies. I love them. You know what comes to mind? You being raised in church is when God says that he has you on a potter's wheel. And he's molding you and he's preparing you, and he can't even put you in the oven till he's molded you. So that's what I'm thinking about when you're sharing that story, G, that right now, baby G, and even PJ, my PJ Paris, he's on a potter's wheel right now. And so eventually when the time is right, they'll be shifted in a position that they're supposed to be in. That's good.
I love it. And Monica, we already have a great nickname for G, the Buckeye Preacher. If not, it would be the analogy.
I agree with that.
The king of the analogies, or however you would want to do it.
I amen G right now.
Amen to the Buckeye Preacher. All right, we'll get you guys out of here on this. Let's give a shout out to the Ohio State Parents Association. I know you guys are part of it. And
no,
as you go on, go ahead.
Let me clarify something. I'm just friends with them. I ain't part. Hold on. Them parents, they do too much damn work for me. They work too hard and they on air being accountable, but I show up to all their functions. You feel me?
Yeah, I saw both of you there giving great speeches at the rally last year at Ohio Stadium. Yeah. So
see,
you guys will get more involved as you. Well, you guys will get more involved as the years go on. I'm sure. Not that Paris is going to be here for too long or anything, but
I keep trying to get G to join the board. I'm working on him.
So let's give a shout out to this group. Okay, I mean, Monica. I mean, my goodness. And by the way, Cam Babb being voted captain, I'm so happy for his mom.
Yes,
that poor kid. I mean, he's had so many serious injuries. But just shout out to the Parents Association, everything you guys are doing. And G, even if you're not officially in there, like we're going to consider you a part of that. Monica,
right.
I just am so proud of this Parents Association. I was on the beat. I was really young in my career when Nick Mangold's dad started the Parents Association back in it was 2005. I am so appreciative of everything you guys are doing. It's really cool.
Thank you. And you know what? During that time this time last year, we grew. I can honestly say that we grew not only as a parent association, but we grew in our friendship. I grew in my friendship with G and his lady Lillian and baby G and Zion. Our families grew during that time. So, during adversity, that's when you really know someone. That's when character is really revealed. So we grew as an association. We grew as parents. We even grew closer to the coaching staff. Our sons matured during that time. So it was a lot of growth that took place. And if it wasn't for that time, I don't know where we will be as an association, because now we are about being advocates, not just coming together and having dinner, coming together and baking brownies and cupcakes, but actually coming together and making sure we're making a real difference within the organization as well.
Mr. Scott,
you know what I like about these parents associations? Like you said, they just not baking brownies and cookies and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they really put on some nice functions. So again, I'm just friends with all of them. You know what I'm saying? They'd be like, hey, G, where the party at? Hold up. Let me call my friends.
Where the party
at? So I just hit up the friends. Matter of fact, I will be seeing them, I'm sure tomorrow. I'll be seeing, a lot of the parents and stuff like that. So it is great. And it's just a family. And I think the most important part is that at least what I've learned, right? So far since I've been a Buckeye, only 1 year. But then, Monica, you probably can say this too. Seeing the boys get drafted and go to the next level and to follow them, man, oh my gosh. Like to watch that, it is so great.
Yes.
So I cannot wait to see some of the parents that I'm seeing at these get-togethers. And all of a sudden I'm seeing them in different cities and stuff like that. Like this bond, this amongst children, and kids, man, this don't last forever, baby. Forever.
I agree. I definitely agree with what G is saying, because we have relationships with the kids that just recently graduated, the kids that just recently playing in the NFL now. There's still a relationship that our sons have with them. There's still a relationship that we have with their parents. So what G is saying is absolutely true. It's truth to that. It's truth to that.
Monica Daniels, G. Scott Sr., I cannot thank both of you enough. Thank you so much for joining me. And what are we going to be doing tomorrow night? Oh, I think we have a good idea. Thank you very much to both of you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. And don't forget, Thursday is a whiteout, so we can't forget that.
Yes, everybody needs to wear white.
Yes.
And if you don't have white drawers works, white socks. White, okay? White.
Figure it out, Buckeye Nation. For Monica Daniels and G. Scott Sr., I am Dave Biddle. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great day. Let's hear that Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.